according to Afrodate statistics, and according to the RBZ in 2016, which is pegged at 684 million. That the government reconsider the 2% per dollar tax and propose that the taxable amounts be in line with the poverty datum line or exempt all funds below the poverty datum line. That the revenue from the reconsidered 2% per dollar be ring-fenced to fund the provision of social services. Honorable Speaker, auctioning of government property should be done expeditiously. We have got vehicles, even at Parliament, we've got vehicles that have been parked for years, and why not sell that? That's the views coming from the people, that CMED has got a number of such cars, and if that can be sold and contribute positively to the national fiscus. Minister of Finance and Economic Development bids, I'll just allow you to go through. We actually met with PEMSEC regarding their bids and their key result areas, as you can see on that slide. And then the policy priorities, I'm sure the minister articulated well on those issues. I'll not labor you on those as well. And continue again. We got their breakdown, the total expenditure target of 224,809,000, the bids from the Ministry of Economy. I'll go to the recommendations to the ministry. These are now the recommendations, Honorable Speaker, that were coming from your committee. Ministry must abide by the provisions of Section 38 of the Public Finance Management Act relating to timelines and content of reports, which is consolidated statement of financial performance. This also relates to quarterly and annual reports provided for in Section 32 to 36 of the Public Finance Management Act. The ministry should abide by the legislative provisions for laying of supplementary appropriation bills in the August House to authorize issuance of supplementary funds from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. And the section is quoted. Minister should also introduce a bill into the National Assembly seeking condonation of the unauthorized expenditure without delay and in any event not later than 60 days after the extent of the unauthorized expenditure has been established. Honorable Speaker, as your chairperson, I will say this authoritatively since we are guided by the Constitution, Section 307, that the minister should not spend willy-nilly without condonation. Honorable Speaker, to ensure that the budget is passed by September to facilitate adequate preparations for agriculture, there is Public Finance Management Act, Section 28, subsection 1, which initially used to say the budget cannot be passed before the 1st of December and not later than the 31st of January. And now it has been amended and aligned accordingly to the Constitution, Section 305, which has now removed the word not earlier and not later than 30 days. So now the minister can bring the budget anytime that he desires. Recommendations to the ministry. Treasury be mandated to bring along with the budget statement a charter of fiscal responsibilities. When we actually had our pre-budget briefing at Sango Lodge in Harare, Honorable Speaker touched on this element of the charter of fiscal responsibilities. Basically what it entails is giving set targets to the minister to take as an oath to say, I will do this by such a time, and if he fails to do that, you'll be accountable to that charter. So I thought maybe let us have that charter in place. Committee recommendations, Mr. Speaker, from the committee, from your honorable committee. We need to have our own currency backed by strong monetary policy and strong political will. This cannot be overemphasized, Honorable Speaker. Dealing with corruption and indiscipline is an important step in cleaning up the image of the country and reducing the cost of business. Private sector-led three-tier agriculture financing is critical to free more resources for public sector development. That government recapitalized Agribank and that it reverts back to its core functions of financing agriculture. To establish a one-stop investment center, which has been on the cards for more than 10 years, follow the Rwanda model where they prioritize time, Honorable Speaker, say you actually alluded to this at length when you were giving us your opening remarks. Government should strive to meet universal access to quality and affordable health services in the 2019 budget. That government apply for readmission into the London Bullion Market Association for selling gold, where output reached record-breaking 28 tons by 30 September and is expected to reach a record 34 tons, from which the country can derive comparative advantage instead of auctioning the special metal through the Rand refineries. The country has already made the requirement to produce at least 10 tons of bullion for 3 consecutive years, or join other major international gold exchange markets, namely America, Gold Market Zurich, Gold Market, and Hong Kong, to capacitate ward clinics, provincial hospitals, and make Parenya, Twampilo, and Harare referral hospitals. Not to have a scenario where one wants discipline or just pills. He or she goes to the major referral hospitals, and it's unacceptable, Honorable Speaker. Sir. Land levy, cattle levy, and the vehicle license must fall under the local authorities, as it was a good source of revenue. Honorable Speaker, say that government introduces a huge penalty for non-producing or non-production on farming land. Government introduced tax incentives to investors who set up tillage units and growth points and other farming areas to support agriculture. Examples, workshop to maintain farming implements. That the government introduces and strengthens its monitoring and evaluation department to monitor all government expenditure. Government should prioritize implementation of macroeconomic reforms in a multifaceted and multi-stage approach to address speculation and hedging, which has become the order of the day. A consultative approach should be pursued instead of radical and coercive approaches, which have been proven to be ineffective. That is the social contract. Government should address the macroeconomic fundamentals and adhere to physical anchors as espoused in the 2018 budget on paragraphs 97 to 104 in order to harness inflation, create fiscal space, address foreign currency shortages, resolve liquidity challenges, and lure investors and reduce the budget deficit. The country should gradually revert back to the cash budgeting framework tenets for discretionary expenditure, as proposed in the 2017 national budget, through ensuring that all line ministries adhere to allocations spend as and when resources are available. Government should adhere to the proposed cost-cutting measures and rationalization of all benefits, including fuel, cell phone allowances, etc. Zinara is owed 4.5, and according to Professor Chakravarti, about 4.2 billion, hence the need to reduce penalties and interest. And I'll not labor you on that slide. The topic one, Honorable Speaker, say on Parliament, I'm sure you touched quite a number of points there, and I will not repeat those points. Just to add on to what you said, Honorable Speaker said, credibility of the institution of Parliament is at stake because Parliament is failing to service its debts on time, since they do not have their own budget, as you have alluded to, Mr. Honorable Speaker said. And you rightly said Parliament should be allowed to manage its own budget. Honorable Speaker said, purchasing of vehicles from honorable members is not a luxury. It is, these are our trade, our tools of trade. So we are saying honorable members must be given. And this word, my favorite word, peremptory, Honorable Speaker said, must be given their tools of trade. And you rightfully said that government should prioritize the construction of the new parliament. As you can see, the overcrowding that is coming, that we are witnessing in parliament. Honorable Speaker said, my parting quote is from St. Francis of Assisi. Start by doing what is necessary, then do what is possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Honorable Speaker say, I thank you.
Can you create a chair? Order. Order. I think it's quite in order again to give Honorable Mona another round of applause. We have come to the end of the presentations by our panelists. And I would like to remind honorable members that we have got quite a long program today, tomorrow, and the day after. And today, we do have time for discussion between now and lunch. So in order to accommodate as many honorable members as possible, can I please ask you to be as concise as possible so that we get many issues, many relevant issues raised by as many people as possible. I will now invite a round of questions, and I'll take a round of questions in this order. Honorable Garwe, Tim Vias, Honorable Mliskwa, Honorable Prince Sibanda, and Honorable Labode, and finally Honorable Gonis. And then I will take another round. In that order. I will recognize you later, Honorable Mte. Okay?
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Order.
My question
Order. I would like to remind honorable members that we have come here to put our minds together. And I think we agree the Honorable Speaker has raised the issue, Professor Chakravarti has raised the issue, that we have the brains here in Zimbabwe. And that includes here in Parliament. We have the brains. So as we raise our issues, I'm urging you that you propose, you pro-offer possible solutions as well, and not just bombard the panelists with questions. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My question is directed to the Minister of Finance and the Reserve Bank Governor. Honorable Chair, my name is Daniel Gargo from Rural North Constituency. My question is directed to the Minister of Finance, Professor Mtuli, and the Reserve Bank Governor, Dr. Mangunjwa. On the governor's presentation, we saw zero income in terms of exports under the construction industry. My question is, why do we have zero when other jurisdictions, other countries use the construction industry as a heavy-duty foreign currency earner? I remember pretty well 5 years ago, Zimbabwe was invited to participate in construction in Angola, in Mozambique, in the Equatorial Guinea. What was lacking was support from the Reserve Bank and support from government, because these were government-to-government arrangements, and the respective governments wanted an underwriting from our government. We came back, went to the Minister of Finance, we were referred to the Reserve Bank Governor, the governor referred us to our respective banks as companies. Can we get an answer from that? Because from the construction industry, surely we can get the much needed foreign currency. I thank you.
Honorable Tim, yes?
Okay, thank you very much. My President of the Senate. I want to ask Ramangud, could he, when he was making his presentation, he was not clear on the issue of a dollar US is equal to a dollar bond, because it is not. And the clarity is needed. Why? Because a lot of people are benefiting from this lack of clarity. So we need clarity and we need a way forward as we go, because we don't even know, we are sitting here, we don't know exactly what currency we are using. I thank you.
Can you bring the mic here, please?
Thank you very much. I think to just, Honorable Tivia certainly brought the issue up. My proposal, it's a proposal, Minister. The multi-currency has failed. Can we have US dollar? That's it. It has failed. Can we have US dollar? Why can't we also, Minister, give 100% retention to all people who export? We cannot have 30, 40 percentages, yet the mineral is the same. You have the small scale 70, 30, you've got the large scale miners 30, 70. How does that work? The gold is the same, just export, retention 100%, and then people will produce more. Rule of law is critical. We've got a company listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, on the London Stock Exchange, on the South African Stock Exchange, Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Government must allow due process to happen when there are shareholders who are not just government. The Wange situation is one in particular. How does government go and reconstruct a company which has other shareholders? Can't government just exercise that level of ensuring there's corporate governance at the end of the day? Investor confidence, how does it come in when you use this heavy-handed to be able to do that? And then ZMDC, from a production point of view, the committee recommended that assets must go. They have not gone. So when are these assets going to go? Because we must have a time frame. And finally, when are you going to retrench the excessive government civil servants we are there? I want the answer on when. I know you're going to do it, but when? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Prince Spanda is my name. My first observation is on what the Honorable Minister of Finance indicated, that contribution of the agricultural sector to the economy is shrinking. I think you made that observation, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, my view is that the problem with our agricultural sector, although others were proposing a bankable lease, I have never heard of a bankable lease. The real problem in our agricultural sector is Section 72 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. It doesn't allow ownership of land, agricultural land. So what it means is that even when I am allocated a piece of land by government today, government can simply wake up tomorrow and take it away. And there's no serious investor who can invest in the agricultural sector as long as Section 72 on property rights in terms of agricultural land remains as it is. So I think as Zimbabweans, we need to confront it head on and say, how do we make security of tenure in terms of ownership of land if we want to improve the agricultural sector production? Then coming to the state-owned enterprises, I know, Honorable Minister, you have indicated that you propose disposal of those assets. I disagree with you respectively. I believe that some of the economies that are doing well, China included, are being driven by state-owned enterprises. The problem in our state-owned enterprises is not who owns it, but it's how they are being run. Unfortunately, we have turned our state-owned enterprises as the conduit through which money comes from treasury and goes into individuals' pockets. That's where major thefts and stealing in this country are happening. Take a look at this, Honorable Minister. Every time you have got a cabinet reshuffle or a new cabinet, there's entirely new boards in almost each and every state-owned enterprise. The reason is not because the board that will be there would not be performing. The reason is that each honorable minister wants to have their own friends and relatives who can assist them to access the resources that are in the state-owned enterprises. So the issue is about corporate governance. I propose, Honorable Minister, that all boards of state-owned enterprises should be appointed on merit and through parliament, not handpicked by honorable ministers. So disposal, indeed, there are others that are supposed to be disposed of. Why would you dispose of Net 1 when Econet is making billions in profit in that industry? Why would you want to dispose of it? So in my view, disposal is not the answer. Then Dr. Mangunja, it also applies to the Honorable Minister of Finances. You are approaching the budget statement. I think let there be clarity, like my honorable sister indicated. When I receive my salary and I see a salary slip, in what currency will those figures be? No one has got an answer in this country. People have got bank balances that are not associated to any particular currency. And let me be very blunt. Dr. Mangunja, your bond notes have failed. Bond notes have become a platform through which a lot of people are making money in this country by